Welcome to another SPbN production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing Gaia of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the worm forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Don't you never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is a World of Darkness role-playing community originating in St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Kent on all social media, and I will be your storyteller tonight. It's Friday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Hounds, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle set in Tampa Bay, Florida, where a pack of young guru have traveled from Michigan to assist the Sept of the Evening Star in combating the forces of the worm, both physical and spiritual. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media listed in the description down below, and you can join our community by following that Discord link where you could take part in one of the many activities we have running all month long. We are now offering for players to run or play in 20th anniversary or Chronicles of Darkness games as well, so head on over and join our community today. Now let's introduce our players. Players, go ahead and introduce yourselves if you please.
Hi everyone, my name's Nikki and I will be playing Delphine Gaia Speaker, the Silent Strider Theurge.
Hello everybody, my name is Jay, the internet's #1 angel, and I'll be playing Forged from Failures, the Bonar Rune.
I hate going after you. Hi, I'm Navers. I play Quinn Kelly, the Ragabash Children of Gaia.
Hey everyone, my name is Ben. I'll be playing Raymond Gorn, the Ghost Council Philodox.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, Chancho. Because when you are a man, sometimes you wear stretchy pants in your room, just for fun. Whatever you want to call me, and I will be playing Aspen Wise, the Philodox.
Hey everyone, my name is Preston, also a lover of Jack Black, and I play Jason Thorne, Theurge of the Bonar.
Okay, let's get everybody caught up as to where we are now. Last week, we saw Delphine visited by Aspen to give the update on everything that happened in Vermont, including the bad news about Charles's demise up there and what that means. Delphine took it surprisingly well, at least externally, but internally, it is undoubted that there is a turmoil afoot. After that, we saw Quinn check in with Unicorn to get a little bit of guidance, a little bit of advice, but also a little bit of a chiding for the untruthful ways that Quinn has been expressing lately, Quinn was also given a task to reveal a secret to each member of the pack. A truthful secret, mind you, or else Unicorn would know, to help allow them to bond more with their fellow packmates. After that, the pack got together to get all on the same page, to find out the terrible news and to find out the threat on the horizon. After the break, we saw Forge meet with the spirit of Ybor City, El Patron, to gain a little bit of wisdom of his own, where he learned that this feeling or lack of feeling he's been having lately is from too many holes being put in his bottle. You'll have to go back to the episode to understand what that means. And then finally, Raymond had a meeting with Aspen, but Raymond wasn't alone in this meeting, as he was bringing Hashugut in tow. And while the worm spirit was fairly well behaved most of that meeting, there was a slight outburst at one point due to some things Aspen had said. It was determined or learned, however, that until the matter is dealt with, or until the spirits of the main cairn are conversed with, Raymond would have a very hard time approaching that cairn. But he did inform Aspen of his success in cleansing Matthias. So the job is most of the way done, but there is still the matter of Hashugut's presence within Raymond and everything that comes with it. That all being said, let's get to our story this week with our first scene. Our first scene begins at the cairn of the Sept of the Evening Star, the central place of power for the Guru in Tampa, but also a place that has a heavy, dark cloud hanging over it over the past few weeks. And that dark cloud is ever apparent to Forged as he steps foot in the cairn for the first time since the return of those that went to Vermont, since the return of Aspen and Jester and Artie and the body of Charles, which is laid wrapped up at the base of the stone, the boulder even, that represents Turtle, and is constantly monitored and tended to by Brother Varga, one of the new arrivals in the Sept. Forged, go ahead and describe what you're thinking and how you're looking walking into this scene.
As I'm walking in, do I see the wrapped remains of Charles as I'm approaching?
Yes, they are not hidden, they are not stowed away, they are out in the open.
Right now, Forge is perhaps dressed very unusually for those who've known him, trying to dress in the vaguest sense of business casual, with a button-up for once that is a size too small. You have to wonder if he did that on purpose or if he took that from someone else, as he wearing normal shorts right now. His hair, this tiniest amount of effort actually put to making it look okay, preparing for a meeting with Aspen after many, many months and over a year now of avoiding her. And as he's coming into this depressive air, he sees the body of Charles, and still he stares at it, expecting some random motion to come bursting forward, something to make him angry, make him sad, or even afraid, but he just stares at the rat remains, feeling not just more of a coldness in his chest. The the remains of his mentor, the strongest badass that he knew.
Now, Aspen, go ahead and describe the scene as you've set it for this meeting.
Aspen is dressed in a blouse and a pencil skirt. Very unusual for what she usually wears in the cairn, but it seems from her attire that she's been leaving the cairn to go do her lawyer duties and coming back. So there's not a lot of time to, really shift into the different modes. But she does have her hiking boots kind of pulled up, untied. She's at the table where she usually does most of her meetings, but at the table she's got some food kind of put as she's putting them away in different like storage bins and things like that to have kind of stocked away within the cairn for whatever people need, and she's working on that as Forge approaches.
Now, Forged, aside from the body, which has taken a majority of your focus, there are also several individuals moving about the cairn that you don't recognize. Now, you had heard that there would be some arrivals from Vermont, that some new individuals had come, but this is the first time laying eyes upon them and just how out of place they look in what you've come to expect the cairn to be. Seeing a man dressed in almost priestly attire, including a collar, black button-up shirt, black slacks, who seems to be hovering pretty close to the body, and a few other individuals more in the background who you can't make out the details of. The cairn definitely seems a lot more full on this visit than it has ever before in the past. But as you approach the table, Artie sits at the table as well, seemingly going over a few items on a laptop he has brought with him. A laptop, unfortunately, without internet connection, but there's still work that can be done, spreadsheets and the like. So as you arrive, the scene is yours.
Forge would approach and for like a moment just kind of awkwardly look around the scene, seeing everyone moving and busy, kind of feeling a little out of place amongst what he perceived the more responsible guru around him, as after a moment of just trying to figure out what to say, eventually just staying busy, huh? Can't even get a break right when you come back.
Oh, Forged. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do. But I can take a minute. What did you need?
Well, Delphine said that I should come here and I guess fulfill my duties as the sheep wolf and talk to you about the community and the spirit of Ybor, and also something I talked about with Skeeter.
Okay. She'll pick up the totes and move them aside and sit down and try her best to give Forge her undivided attention. Yeah. Well, why don't you start? Sounds like you have a lot you want to talk about. First off, though, how are you feeling? I haven't gotten a chance to really talk to the rest of the Hellhounds after everything.
How am I feeling, and how are we feeling?
You.
Just you look a little uncomfortable by that question, just kind of thinking of a good response for just settling on, just feeling all right. Busy, more busy than I'm used to. Actually having to do fucking work with Delphine, taskmaster running us around.
It's the joys of being leader.
But except she wants to be the most busy of all of us and not leave time for herself, so, Does she learn it from you, or?
She smirks and looks down. Sometimes in moments of grief and devastation, people tend to stay busy to keep from falling into worse emotions. With so much to do, sometimes it's better just to keep your hands busy.
At this point, Artie looks over, closing his laptop to Forged, and says, "Speaking of which, if you need to talk about anything, I'm available. I know that recent events have come as a shock to all of us, and we're all dealing with it in our own way, but sometimes a little bit of extra assistance or an ear that can listen can be helpful, so don't be afraid to reach out if you need anything."
I appreciate it, though. I got my own ears that's been listening to me. Got the whole Sig Ebor as my little therapy buddy, so you know, I think you should focus more on the others. I think they're feeling it a bit more, especially Delphine. I think she's gonna need some extra support here.
Artie gives a long stare at Forged, but then just says, "Okay, well, the offer still stands."
Appreciate it, but I guess that kind of segued a little nicely into the topic, though. Kind of spoke with the city, or speaking with City Ubor a couple times, and we had a nice long conversation about the state of things going on around.
Okay. How is it all going? You guys with the cairn and the city and all of that.
This whole Karen building apparently is supposed to be super complicated, but yet that seems to be the easiest shit right now that's going on. I mean, doesn't seem to be too much complication with that, but I mean, that's probably more of a Delphine question than a me question. I just move the shit around and sometimes get to use the cat, so I mean, that's mostly what I get to focus on. But the people, it's a different story. That's a whole lot of shit right now. A whole lot of angry people, a whole lot of people who got nothing better to do besides, or no options to, besides trying to lash out and break the system that made him into this spot to begin with.
Yeah, it's kind of rough out here for everyone.
Yeah, and I've learned from El Patron, the city of Ybor, that the cult of Fenris have been the one that using an outside person to rile up all the people to get them so pissed off to begin with, and now that they're all riled up, pissed off, it ain't just gonna go away now, and we gotta do something about it.
Yeah. Jester and Isidoro, they were able to take care of some of that. We actually have someone to talk to. They were able to apprehend the one doing most of the problems. So maybe we can get some more information for you moving forward after we get to talk to them.
Yeah, but just dealing with them ain't gonna fix the problem, though. That's kind of the issue. Now that they're all riled up, now that people have been encouraged to fight back, now that spark has been lit, they're not gonna stop until either they're burned everything down or beaten into submission, or someone else directs it.
True, that's a fair point. What do you think should be done to help the people?
Well, talking with Patron, he told me, he was like, "Forge, you're gonna need to be the one that steps up and actually does something in this fucking city for once." To put it bluntly, what he said, spirit metaphors and whatever the hell. He's suggesting that I become the one to lead them to do something better, but not quite sure about that one. 'Cause, you see me, I ain't the leading type for people.
Isn't that what you're doing already with being Sheepwolf? Making sure the people are taken care of and that things are going well around there? I mean, you're already doing it.
I mean, it's different it ain't the same. I mean, I'm not exactly leading them. I'm more just in the area getting people to not be fucking idiots and to actually listen to each other, to want, to help each other out and to help them. I mean, it's a little different.
She squints and smirks again. What do you think leading is, Forge?
I don't know, man. Look, I never see myself as the leading type. Why don't, if I thought myself as someone who could lead anything, I'd join the Silver Fangs. I mean, dude, I'm a bone gnar. I mean, that's kind of what we do. We scrounge around in the trash and, I mean, make a bunch of friends in the way, but I mean, if we were meant to be, people leading shit, I mean, wouldn't we be... I never heard of a bone gnar in a great position of power besides here. But then again, I only visited like 2 places.
Jace led the whole thing while I was gone and actually did a fantastic job, all things considered.
There are actually packs in the major cities too that have bone gnar leaders because of their knowledge of city situations. You'd be surprised, Forged.
Shit, and I thought I could squirm out of this with half facts. Fuck. Now you're actually beating me on this. I know I probably should be the one to do this. It's just that, like, how you Silver Fanged, how it happened for you, where you just suddenly find yourself, you're just going around one day, and then suddenly everyone's like, oh, here's all the leadership positions, and here's all the power, here you go, expect to lead everyone. That kind of how it goes for y'all? Is it?
That's kind of how it goes for most leadership positions. I don't think anybody chooses it. I mean, I'm sure some do, but for the most part, people look at you for answers, and you've got to be the one to answer it for them.
What makes you nervous about the idea of leading, Forged?
Shit, here we go. Here we go, starting on this. Look, it's a different kind of thing, with I'm one of the dudes. I'm one of the boys when I'm out there. I'm just hanging out. I'm looking after the people. I'm looking after my people. And they're looking after me, But I mean, if I'm a leader, then at that point, that's a whole lot more responsibility, man. Like, I gotta make sure it like goes, I don't know, like in my head, it goes from them being like my friends to almost like them being like almost like my kids, like I gotta look after them, I gotta make sure they're doing the right thing, and I gotta, it's a lot more, if anything fucks up, then it's a lot more on me that I didn't lead them right.
You want to be a father again one day, right?
That's the end game. Try and get through all this. If we can survive, I guess, the super worm apocalypse lady, and then I can see my kid and actually, raise him in a world that's worth living in.
And what better way to practice?
That's a fair point. I'd rather get good at it now than have to figure it out when he's, 10 or 14. That'd be a lot worse. Let me, Aspen, keep it real with me. I know, keep it real with me right here. Am I gonna fuck up a lot? Is it gonna be something that we're gonna, kind of fumble my way through until I figure it out? That kind of how leadership is?
That's 100% what it is. You're gonna mess up a lot, and you'll mess up so much that the little wins feel like big wins, which I guess is the silver lining. But you're gonna mess up more than you're gonna succeed, and that's just what it actually is being a leader. And I think the thing that most people forget when it comes to leadership is that you're not doing it alone. You may be the face, the person who makes the final decision that makes everyone look at you when things go wrong, but I couldn't do any of this without all of you guys around. There's just no way. It's not a responsibility for one person to bear.
I'm trying to like get Delphine to understand more, but she seems to kind of want to take all the, the woes and everything onto herself and, overwork herself to death. But maybe I guess that's the thing we'll have to help her out with. But yeah, I mean, there's been my pack patron taught me a thing or two about perspective, and at least if there's one thing I'm good at, it's failing and being better from failing. So at least I have that. So if leadership is about failing over and over and fumbling, hey, at least I'll be used to that one, right?
There's also more than one way to lead, Forged. You don't have to be Aspen or Delphine or any of the other leaders you've dealt with in your life. You can take things from them. You can, get a sense of it from them, but you're going to be your own kind of leader. And you've got to figure out what that means and what that looks like. Sometimes being a leader is just leading by example. Having others follow your example, showing others a new way.
Hearing that, he can't help but his gaze to turn when he thinks of, a different way of leading by example of who he kind of thinks of. His gaze turns over to the rat remains of Charles as he considers what he thinks, what kind of leader that he would want to be. Like someone like Charles, as he kind of wrestles with that for a moment before looking back over. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I know I can't be like y'all. Y'all a lot more diplomatic than I am. I mean, I couldn't imagine trying to do some sort of board meeting with, leeches or whatever, or other annoying guru.
Fair. That's something that some of us are better equipped for, and that's why you find those people and you have them help you through that stuff. Really, it's not as complicated as, well, it's very complicated, that's a lie, but it's about having a passion and a cause and wanting to see something better than what it was before. And if you feel strongly enough about it, then you're gonna want to put people in the right direction or put people in the places that make that succeed.
Also, whether you think you can't or you think you can, you're right. If you want to be able to do that, you want to be able to negotiate and to hold boardroom meetings and be in the same room as leeches without ripping their heads off, you can learn how. You have a lot more potential and ability than I think you even give yourself credit for. And that's saying a lot, considering we're speaking of you. But I think that you have the ability to do anything you set your mind to. You never thought you could be a good dad, and you probably made one of the hardest choices a good dad has to make in this situation. Don't limit yourself. Just decide which direction you want to go in and be willing to learn how to get there.
You're right in that way, that especially considering that I'm actually talking to you instead of avoiding you for the last year like I may have been slightly doing. But, it's bygones be bygones, right? New leaf, new forge. We get a new one, I think, every month or so. But, new chapters.
It was bound to happen eventually. Glad it's happening at all.
I think it was with enough blunt force trauma to the head.
Well, Some people have to be dragged into it, kicking and screaming. She smiles.
Or just lets out a laugh that kind of like trails off at the reminiscing on the memories he thought was torturous in the moment, but looking back on was a bit more funny, and you know how much he realized he enjoyed it past the fact. Well, I guess once we're gonna use that word, once I just help these people and start trying to lead them. You have any suggestions which direction I should start taking them? Because I won't lie, I mean, I can't even be all that mad that they're upset and wanting to break shit because of the system that's fucked. I mean, that's what I kind of want to do still. I know that ain't the right thing to do, but I mean, it's kind of hard to find an outlet for that anger that isn't destructive, and it's going to be hard to talk them down from that.
How do you want to see that going? If you have your own ways. Obviously, you just said that you feel that way a lot of the time and you have to find outlets. So in the grand scope of Ybor, what can be done to give people those outlets, and what can you do to foster that?
A lot of these people with anger come from a lack of change and hopelessness in their situation, you know? Like, most of those people are stuck in those shitty positions of their lives because of politicians, of people above them making decisions that they have no real influence over, or circumstances in their life that just decide to fuck them over because they were born there, or who they were born from. So something that would give them some level of control back in their life, probably, I don't know, probably helping each other out, trying to, instead of breaking things, trying to build something up to help other people. It ain't gonna make the anger go away fully, but at least it's a way to get some control back, right?
Absolutely. And you could do it in your own way. I know there's Quinn does outreach, and you have the cairn that's working with helping people who are struggling. You have other ways that you could help as well. I don't know, just off the top of my head, and I'm not saying this has to be what you do, is you could open something to help people with self-defense or talk them through things that they are going through. Some sort of way of bringing the community together and making them feel stronger together than apart.
Or self-defense class, huh? Never thought of that. I mean, I feel like I'm almost like a black belt at this point with the amount of training that I've been through. But I'll think of that. I don't know what exactly I gotta do to make that happen, but at least that's something I'm good at. At least I know how to do that. And at least, bringing each other up, maybe doing some protests that are not super violent, that's something a little bit more peaceful. And if we can maybe make a change happen or help a change happen along with those, I mean, a victory for them will seem huge and bring some hope.
You could also encourage the sense of community. A lot of people are angry because they think about their own situation and how they're being affected by what's going on. And when you get a bunch of those types of people together, they fuel each other's anger. But maybe instead, they can come up with solutions for some of the problems that they're having. This world was built on small communities that eventually came together to become a nation or a city or whatever the case may be. But it starts with a neighborhood helping each other out, working together, offering what they are good at for those that aren't good at it. There are other alternatives to fighting. You can always just build something, reinforce something. With what's coming, we're going to need to be ready to defend what we have instead of just fighting against what we don't.
as get that as an important difference is not just fighting or breaking something down. We're trying to actually hold on to something we value pretty fucking much or highly. So I know a few people. I mean, it might be a little hard to make them open up outside the bars. That's usually when they're drunk and sad, want to spill all their beans and mope on their life. But I mean, I could start dragging some people out of the bars and more actually talking about their shit. And I know a couple homeless people who need some help and I know some skills. Okay, yeah, I think that's something that definitely can work. Like Forrest is actually like seeming like had some ideas in his head of certain people to talk with and nodding to himself as he's like stroking his chin.
There's also plenty of volunteer opportunities that go unfilled. If you had an excess of volunteers, a lot of people would need a lot less. If food pantries were working with the full force that they were capable of, if clothing drives had an excess of volunteers, people want to help, they just don't know how or where.
That's one thing I'm good at. That's one thing I'm really good at. I know people to chat with. I know who to talk with. So if I can just find out the right people to talk with who knows opportunities like that or ways to help or how to get contact a large group of people, then it can work out a lot better. Okay.
And you can motivate them to volunteer, to help, to get involved, rather than just sitting around being angry, which does nobody any good. Show them that there are ways to achieve good feelings giving back.
I might be able to encourage some. He looks over to Aspen, like hesitant to say this for a moment before. People who tend to skirt on the wrong side of the law. I know a handful, a few, that I know that could probably encourage them to do something for charity for the good of their heart. I know a lot of them are just people who trying to make a living and they don't exactly feel super great doing the stuff they do. Okay. You guys also like workshop ideas like this? You have a big circle where you spew ideas with each other and it's kind of how you came up with your stuff?
All the time. I mean, pack meetings, SEP meetings, even talking to each other as individuals, just to make sure we're keeping ourselves accountable and helping each other out. You need each other, really, or what's all this for?
Also, you could start a neighborhood watch, because the threat that we're facing isn't just going to be a threat against Guru. It's going to be a threat against everyone. So having people keeping an eye out for anything strange or unusual in Ybor, keeping people watching out for their neighbors and their friends, reporting anything strange that happens. I mean, you can only rely on the cops so much, and they're usually overburdened as is, what with it being Florida and all. So having people prepared for what they don't know they're preparing for.
Forge looks almost appalled by the suggestion of relying on cops. Relying on cops? Aren't they like leech property at this point? No. I mean, the neighbor watch, that's a good one though. I've been talking to a few people and it's kind of trying to going through a whole personal journey of figuring out who needs to be smashed in the face or not, because there's some hearing some sources, especially from some of my peeps, that I don't know. I thought originally that all leeches need to be smashed in the face, but now I'm being told that apparently that might not be entirely the case, and some of them might not be super bad, especially considering that we're working with some, and there's like Spud too, which I don't know if he really counts or if he's more like, I don't know what he is really, but
Yeah, some of that is much to my displeasure with some of the leeches, I mean. But it's about picking your battles, unfortunately, and not all of them can be picked at the same time, because that's how you lose. But trust me, if I had the means and an opportunity, well, the landscape of the leeches would be a lot different.
How different?
Well, the fancy thing they call the camarilla would not be a problem. They'd be, in a perfect world, they'd be out of my city completely. They'd be out of our city, not causing all the problems they're causing. And some, the scope of that is a lot larger than others.
But like, would Spud be out the city if you had your way?
No, Spud's different in a lot of ways. Well, Spud doesn't even want to be what he is, in all honesty. And he's helping where he can. And I think there's a weird fine line between being of the worm and being worm tainted. And finding that line is a lot more difficult than I had previously thought.
Ray's been testing your patience on that one.
Ray enjoys testing my patience. I think he thinks it's fun.
Sad to agree with you on that one. I think he's a masochist at this point. I thought he was just a idiot, martyr, but I think he's just enjoying it at this point.
In the grand scheme of things, Ray just believes in something, and he holds that to high regard. And does it get him into a lot of trouble? Yeah, but at least he believes in something.
That is true. I could say a lot of things about that guy, but one thing is true, that he's a stubborn motherfucker that won't give up on something when he really believes in it. And you know what? Hey, it's a lot more than I can do sometimes. I can respect that.
It's about finding that for you, though. We all have our thing that keeps pushing us forward. And you just have to find it for yourself.
Aspen, I already got it. My son. I'm doing all this for him, man. I mean, once I get all this settled, once everything goes down right and we win the day and, drive back the, Zizuk? I don't remember her name. This something
Jack?
stupid. Probably. Once we drive her back, put her in the grave and, save the world for Gaia, then he can come on back here and I can raise them all again, and we'll figure out what's everything with these leeches. And speaking of, did Skeeter talk to you about that? He was talking about a meeting with them. Did you planning that yet?
I have some things in the works. I'm planning to have them deal with the castle. We can't do it without getting our hands very dirty, which would cause even more problems with us. And Jax, she over enunciates, is going to be a big problem for us. So we can't have our focus be pushed so many different directions. And if they're going to be in the city, might as well be helpful.
If that's true, and I guess they're our guinea pig to see if they can actually be good, or at least some of them.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, I don't know. There's some things out there that give me cause for concern, but hopefully we can come to an understanding.
We'll see. Skeeter tried telling me a few things, and I want to believe in them. It sounds like they got it rough, but I guess we'll see if there's ever a good one that I come across, huh?
Yeah, I mean, discernment is really what it comes down to. And learning to trust yourself and your intuition and your own instincts. But all that being said, I'm hoping to get them doing something with the castle, pushing them out in some way. If you'd like, and if you're up to it, because I know how much you love talking to me, she smiles, I can keep you informed on what happens with all of that.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be good. I mean, I need to know. I mean, kind of my friends in there, people. I know a lot of people in there that if suddenly everything went ape shit, I'd be pretty fucking upset, and I'd want to know as soon as possible. So at least whoever fucked it up, we can make sure that they. How should I put this nicely? Eat shit. There we go.
I agree. Whoever is causing problems, we can make sure that they eat shit.
Yeah, and E3 Forge will smile, take a deep breath, and you'll see he actually grow serious for a moment as he'll kind of sit up, clear his throat, and lean forward. Yeah, but on a serious note though, I know it's probably been a little rough and kind of awful since coming back, especially with what happened. And I know I'm doing all my stuff, but I mean, if you need some extra help, and especially some like muscle, like I'm here if you need it.
I'd really like that. You could always start by helping me move all of this around. She points to the totes of food. So you're telling me I can give you a job?
I've been taking a lot more of those lately, so lay it on me. At this point, I've become the thing I feared most, employed, but I'll do it.
Okay. I won't push you too hard. I don't need you not talking to me for another year.
Might be able to cut it down to 6 months.
That's progress. I like it.
So as Aspen tasks Forged with a little bit of manual labor, but nothing too strenuous, something that can be kicked out pretty quickly. Forged, what's going through your mind after this conversation with Aspen?
I think Forge right now is fully actualized and kind of realized that, El Patron's message of needing to be for the people, and especially now with getting some guidance from a established Silver Fang leader who's been doing this a lot longer than he has, and failed a lot more than he has, gave him some insight as to maybe being a leader isn't about just pretending like you know everything and that you need to be perfect all the time. And so he feels a bit better in that regard, and he's trying really hard he wants to be better for everyone around here, especially since Charles is gone. And he knows since he's not feeling it right now, he knows he has too many holes, he can at least be a rock for everyone else. And that's what he's trying to do, to hopefully help everyone else's holes get fixed, so that maybe they might be able to help him a little bit with his when the time comes.
Getting involved, taking the lead, it takes many forms. But as long as there is motivation, as long as there is drive, and as long as there is a desire to see good done, it doesn't matter which direction you take. As long as you pick one and stick to it, as long as you keep moving forward. Because the minute you stop moving, you become a deadbeat again. We now transition to our next scene. Raymond, it's felt a little strange over the past week having someplace you can't go. You've had places you don't want to go. You've understood the idea of off limits or classified before, but in a situation like you've had with the Sept Cairn over the past several days, it's strange because no one's telling you not to, but somehow you're still not able to or allowed to. Having doors closed in your face without any explanation as to why, other than the good deeds you've supposedly done, really brings home the idea of consequences for actions. But you have a path, you have potential solutions, and if all goes well, this won't be for long. How do you get there? What are the steps? You've always steadily studied your path, breaking it down into millimeters of movement at times. But also, indecision has caused you to be paralyzed in the past. But after that experience, after that moment of feeling something keeping you out, the question is, are you indecisive still? So as you reach out to Eliza, who's been acting as a mentor to you in your bane tending efforts, you are told to meet at the spot, the swampland that has been a place for many of your teachings. In fact, you probably feel more comfortable there now than you did the first couple of times you went there. And even if it is a reminder of your decision to make a deal with Hashugut, that's okay. Because one thing you've learned about bane tending is there is a lot of wheeling and dealing with darker entities when you're the job of a bane tender. To convince them to stay restrained, but to be able to access what information they can give brings a great deal of risk and usually requires some sort of offering. And offering to banes and worm spirits are rarely good. You toe a line, not just as a bane tender, but as a ghost council in a need to learn more, to know more, to prepare. So as you arrive with big waiter boots on, trudging into the damp swamp as it has grown several inches, the water level has, because of the constant rains from the tropical storm that's been beating the coast as of late. What's going through your mind?
Right now, there's a lot. I mean, I succeeded in what I was tasked to do. Matthias is free. He's working on getting better. But my solution to that and accepting Hashugut in to help him relieve his anger, I feel like after talking to Anna, that was the best choice. It felt like the only choice. And indecisiveness has bit me in the ass before. And so I couldn't be indecisive in that moment. So I had to go down that path. And I feel like I made the right decision. But again, did I? Am I going to face consequences greater than what I thought. Is this going to hurt me and those I care about more? Or is everything going to turn out better? But I don't have answers to that questions because I can't fully think of what Hashugut wants to do next. Does he actually want to get better? Did what he told me true? It felt like it was true, but I don't know. And that's what kind of scares me.
I was growing so bored with Matthias. It isn't challenging having everything presented to you on a silver plate. But Raymond has provided a unique opportunity, a challenge. And either way this goes, I win.
So, Raymond, as you proceed forward into the swamp, the water pooling around your waders, but not quite going over the top. You can feel your feet getting stuck in the mud, each step requiring you to put a little extra oomph and force into it to move forward. But you've walked this path several times. So you're kind of used to the sensation. And eventually you reach the point in the swamp that has been your teaching ground, where your lessons have taken place. Prison, as it currently stands. And Eliza is already there, with a camping lantern in one hand, lit up, casting a dull glow amidst the darkness of the trees crowding overhead. It reflects off the water, which makes it doubly bright, allowing for a pretty good idea of your surroundings and what could be lurking in the darkness. She looks to you with a somewhat pitying gaze, realizing how this is the best you're going to be able to do for a meeting place for the time being, and that it isn't the most comfortable of conditions. Even for a Bane tender, it's more tolerable than it is comfortable, because the Guru inside of you claws at the idea of the worm being ever present. The constant underlying threat of decay and destruction. But she quickly banishes the look as she gives you a warm smile. Raymond, Hashugut, good to see you both. You rang?
Taking the last few laborious steps in the muck to probably one of the only drier, air quote, areas in the swamp for us to have this conversation. That last final step with the effort, stepping up. It's good to see you, Eliza. Yeah. I'm just kind of, I'm looking for advice, and I know that you're the most knowledgeable on this subject and maybe the path that I could potentially take. But also, you're more understanding than anyone else. Because it seemed like when people learned about it, is lukewarm at best, the reactions to what happened and what transpired.
Can you really blame them?
No, not at all. Because, I mean, I've done it in the past before. I know they're worried about me repeating the same mistakes as what I've done, but they don't really understand that. I guess I haven't really said it, that this was really the only good choice to move towards.
Why does it need to be said? Do you regret your decision? Are you ashamed of it?
No. No, I'm not.
Then there's nothing to be said. Your pack should trust you. Or else why are you a pack? And vice versa. When a decision is made, we as gurus should trust in one another enough to believe they made it for the right. Mistakes can be made also, but there comes a certain level of understanding with that. Raymond, you and I walk a very lonely and dangerous path. Because the path we walk requires us to have a foot on both sides of the fence. In a conflict where it seems like one side is clearly evil and the other side is clearly good, we have to walk right down the middle. Because one thing that we understand is there is no clear evil or good in this situation. Nature is out of balance. The worm is sick. But is it inherently evil? No. It's just doing what it's supposed to do with a fervor and intensity that is problematic, to be sure. But to call it evil is to deny the evil impulses all of us have. Anytime we've littered, anytime that we have caused pollution by driving in a car, are we evil? No. We're ignorant to the impact we have. And even when we become aware, there's a certain amount of necessity in order to continue to do good that requires us to do a little of what some would call evil. You don't have to justify what you did, Raymond. But what you do have to do is respect that others are going to have feelings about it that don't match your own. That there is going to be a certain amount of judgment cast your way because you are dealing with individuals who have been taught their entire guru existence not to do what we do. Not to work in the ways that we work. But if they really thought poorly of what you did, they would have made sure you knew. You wouldn't be a part of their pack. You wouldn't be welcome in their home. They wouldn't share a table with you. They still are. Because they have faith in you to do what's right, even if they have a hard time putting it into words.
I mean, I know that. I understand. I mean, that's what you've taught me this entire time, and it's something I've learned to accept, but I know that they trust me and that I'm just worried that, yeah, they might be vocal about it, but the underlying emotions, the thoughts that aren't spoken, like you said, this is a lonely path. This is a lonely existence, but it's still new to me, and I haven't really gotten used to that.
Takes a long time. Even in saying that to you, I'm saying it to myself because we need constant reminders of the choices we've made and some of the difficulties that come with those choices. I've gotten used to being an outcast in many ways because that's the way this journey has taken me, but that doesn't make it easy. And to get comfortable into becoming an outcast and to get comfortable at being cut off from one's community is a surefire path to being taken in by the worm or taken over. You have to do your very best to anchor yourself to the side you wish to belong to, but not limit yourself to that side.
I mean, I'm trying a little bit more now. I mean, I'm doing the best I can. I'm trying to hang out with Forge a little bit more whenever I can. Helping out Delphine with the cairn and with the task she's been giving me. It's not a lot, but hopefully it's the start of a good anchor point. Because recently I've been so consumed with trying to heal Matthias that I've been neglecting all of it.
That's good. If it's true, do you believe you are doing your absolute best, Raymond? Or are you doing just enough so they won't be angry at you?
At that, Ray will kind of look away and kind of look out to the swamp and cross his arms and look back to Eliza. I want to think I'm trying my best, but I might just be skating by. And I just don't know what more I can do right now. I'm so focused on this situation and the cult of Fenris and now Black Spiral Dancers and the leeches and having to deal with them on a ticking clock. I know I need to make time to anchor myself and better myself, but it's hard to find the time to do that.
Ah, yes, the idea of time, the ever constant passage of moments. You need to stop white knighting, Ray. You're not helping anyone by keeping this all to yourself. You want to know what you can do to better yourself? Chill. Tell them what's going on with you. Tell them how it feels to have this spirit inside of you. Tell them how you've struggled with the decisions you've made. And that sometimes you do regret it, because I'm sure you do, as much as you want to say you don't. Everyone regrets decisions now and then. Doesn't mean it's permanent. You have worked so hard your entire life to create this facade of strength and stability, to be the protector, the shield, the sword. But you're just like everyone else. And when you hide things, it makes others suspicious. It makes it so that they can't trust you. That they wonder, are they talking to you or are they talking to it? Who's behind the wheel? Who's making the decisions? You already, in their eyes, violated their trust with Jordan. And even if they say they forgive you for it, a part of them still doesn't. And that's normal. It's the scar that's left behind when someone feels betrayed. You have an opportunity to turn over a new leaf now. To teach them. To show them. To share with them. Because if you show that you are willing to share your burden with them, it shows how much you value them, how much you trust them, how much you need them as much as you want them to need you.
The entire time I was trying to help Matthias, I wanted to tell them what was going on, what was happening. But the deal that was in place, I was afraid that if I told them, if I talked to them, if they gave me advice or helped me out in some way, some insignificant way, it would have violated the deal. And then it could have caused, I don't know, catastrophic problems. Because I wanted to try to find a loophole and try to find a way to talk with them, but I was just scared to cause more problems.
I understand. But what about now?
Now
Do
it's
they know
different.
that? Do they
No.
know that you wanted to talk to them? That you wanted their help but couldn't ask for it? That you felt paralyzed in your inability to go to the place that you feel most comfortable?
Not yet. I mean, I just talked to Aspen last week, and the deal that was struck has been changed, and now I can ask for help from everyone. I can talk with them and not worry about the repercussions. It's just everyone is also dealing with their own things and trying to solve problems and have solutions. It, like I said before, it's just time's an issue and it sucks. I'm gonna try to find time. I want to talk with them and actually explain it, unlike what I did before, but it's just gotta find it, you know?
The concept of yet can be minuscule or it can be infinite. As long as you can find an excuse, you can keep the concept of yet in the distant future. You have the time, Raymond. You've had it. But do you have the strength? When you're on patrol, when you're going about your daily business, when you're doing one of the many tasks that are coming or have come, what's preventing you from a conversation? From an admission? You think you have to stay focused on the job, right? That's that military training talking to you. You can't think of anything else. You have to block out all the other distractions. Well, this ain't the military, Raymond. And it hasn't been. This is albeit likely insulting, more important than that.
I wish I could have a retort to that, but I mean, you're not wrong.
I don't need a retort. I'm just telling you what it's difficult to hear. You have the time. You are prioritizing other things above connecting with them, above sharing with them. Because that's what you've been taught. Just as much as we have to deal with what they've been taught about the worm and how terrible it is to even associate with it in the slightest, you have been taught to put yourself last. The concept of changing that is scary. But as long as you stay scared, yet will be forever. And you will not get what you want.
Ray will turn away a bit and run his hand through his hair and kind of rub his forehead with his palm. I just don't want to burden them, I guess. And I know it's contradictory. Like, I want to tell them, but I also don't want to burden them. So maybe I just don't tell them just enough not to. But I mean, I know I need to talk with them. I need to connect with them. I need to actually talk with them. And I've gotten better at it, but it's still difficult. I'm going to say it again. It takes time.
You're burdening them more in trying not to burden them. They think you're acting impulsively, rashly, making bad choices. That worries them constantly. One little conversation is way less of a burden than the burden of not knowing, of having to guess and make up your own narrative. But that's not why we're here, is it? Consider it a gift basket for this meeting, something to take home with you. You wanted advice. Advice I can give beyond what I've already given. What are you struggling with?
Turning back to face Eliza, I guess kind of where to start. I've kind of already started with maybe helping a little bit with alleviating Hashugut's anger. When I talked to Aspen, he was able to voice some things and talk, and he's still pretty angry. His recommendation for Aspen to eat a bunch of silver dollars was not taken very nicely. But I want to be respectful to both of them and how I proceed, and I guess figuring out how to help him as a spirit, just how to go about that.
Aspen really doesn't care for all things silver lately, does she? Well, that makes all of us. That's all well and good. That's good work, and you should keep doing that. But what you should focus on is the necessary preparations to give or to be able to provide the thing that you're promising him, the thing that he wants. Have you learned the rite of abjuration?
No, I have not learned that right yet. I know Delphine can teach me it. There's a lot of stuff I need to learn, and I didn't know if that was on the top of my list, because I still have to learn the right to make the cages and make the I can't think of the word, the pieces to trap the Banes. And once I'm still shamed, and that's difficult. There's so many rights I have to learn to be in the process of a Bane tender that wasn't my top priority.
And where does staying possessed list on your priorities?
It's pretty high.
And I think maybe there's some reprioritizing that needs to happen. Raymond, to accomplish what you wish to accomplish, there are 3 rites you must know. 1, the rite of abjuration, to purge and cleanse the vessel you wish to put Hashugut in. 2, the rite of forging, to prepare the vessel to receive Hashugut. 3, the rite of binding, to put him in that vessel. That's it. 3 rites. Once you accomplish those 3, you'll have everything you need. So whatever else you think is on that list, whatever else is distracting you or is prioritized over that, you can immediately drop down the list, because that's all you're going to need right there. Those 3 rites. Now, the whole Dr. Phil you're doing with Hashugut upstairs, that's all well and good, and that's going to be an important part of it, certainly, because he's going to need to be convinced and come to terms with this idea of moving domiciles. But none of that's going to matter if you can't deliver on what you promise. If you don't have the skills and the abilities, words are meaningless. If you show him that it is a priority, if you show him that this is important, that he is important, what other convincing do you need? That's what he's wanted the whole time, right? A seat at the table, to be considered, thought about, cared for. Words are well and good. Words have been your greatest defense and weapon for years. Actions, Raymond. Now is the time to act. Learn the rites. Prepare the vessel. Purge the vessel of what exists within. And then send him home.
I already have one of those rites checked out with the rite of binding. I know you can teach me the rite of forging, and like I said, Delphine could teach me the rite of abjuration. I'll work towards that. Like you said, rechange priorities. I guess I'm a little worried also about the vessel I had planned. I know Hashugut probably knows a bit, and I'll kind of look internally at that comment about the plan that me and Anna talked about. We have that willow, that piece from grandmother Willow. And that was the plan for his home, moving him into that and planting him in the new cairn.
Yes, that's the plan.
All right. So what's keeping you?
If I expel the piece of grandmother Willow from that willow, does that set a timetable on the tree? Will it start to decay? Will it start to fall apart? Like, is it something I need to worry about once cleansing it?
Yes. When you drive out the spirit of a living thing, then the body starts to slowly die, just as it does with people, guru, animals, anything. Now, there is a slight advantage in the fact that it is a tree, and trees take a long time to die, but we're talking about a fairly young tree here. So less time than a mighty redwood or something like that. But I think your best course of action is to have all of it ready at the same time, so that you can do one, then the next, then the next. Because, yeah, you could drive out the corrupted spirit that exists within that tree now, the piece of a greater whole. But if that home does start to decay, it goes from a wonderful new place to live to a quickly decaying, rundown shithole that you're expecting to deposit this thing in, and that is quite insulting.
That's fair. I mean, I wasn't planning on cleansing the tree and taking months to move him into it. That wasn't the plan at all. But now knowing that that's the case, doing it one right after the other will probably be the smartest move.
Yes. Cleanse it, prepare it, bind it. It's as simple as that, Raymond. It always has been. The only thing that's holding you back is you. And as for the spirit, the partial spirit that dwells within that tree, don't give it a second thought. It shouldn't have been there to begin with.
Ray will give her kind of a look, kind of like scrunch up his face a little bit. I mean, if I banish that piece in a way because it's an incomplete piece of Grandmother Willow, wouldn't I be killing that piece by banishing it from the tree?
You would be returning it to the hole that it belongs to.
I understand. So I wouldn't be hurting the spirit at all by doing that.
She takes a long pause. Sometimes the best thing we can do to help something is to hurt it. And yes, it will hurt. But it isn't complete. It has been hurting. It is a remnant of a bygone day, of a strong entity that no longer dwells among us. That hurts it more than anything else. What you are doing is a mercy for it.
I just wanted to be sure that I wasn't, I guess, killing the spirit. But if what you said, if I will be returning to the hole but causing it pain to do that, then do a little bad to do some good.
Can't kill what's already dead. The hole is dead. It is gone. This is what remains. And that is not your shame to carry. That is not your burden. It is another's. And trust me, they've carried it the whole time.
Yeah, so I'd be basically putting the spirit fully out of its misery.
And you'd be doing a good deed for another.
Okay. At least I have a more solid plan. It's really all I kind of want to discuss with you. I mean, advice and understanding for the situation. Because I think, like I mentioned before, I mean, you're one of the only ones that can fully understand at least a little bit about what's going on and what I'm going through.
And I'm always here to listen. But to assume that I'm the only one who's going to understand is to make that true. I think you might be surprised at just how understanding the others can be. This place isn't like any other place in what was the Guru Nation. I'm a living testament to that. Because if it were, I wouldn't be here. Trust them to accept you. And if they don't, then you don't belong with them anyway.
Still staring at Eliza. I don't want to say it out loud, so I will say it in my head, forgetting for a second that Hashugut can hear me, and internalize the thought of, and that's my biggest fear.
Who really cares what they think? Caring only brings pain.
After a brief moment of I forgot that he was in there, mentally I'll respond. Caring does bring pain, but it also brings happiness. And honestly, you can't have one without the other, because at that point, you're not living.
Raymond, make me a charisma and persuasion.
Am I at 1 rage, or am I kind of at a constant 2?
I'd say at a constant 2, probably, at this point. Even if Raymond might feel like he's at a 1, there's something inside him that makes it a 2.
At 4 successes.
Okay. Raymond, as you think those words with all of the belief and conviction you can muster, you hear another hiss, but not from within. As the horned serpent appears only momentarily to remove your chain. The answer was and always has been about caring. Caring for your pack mates, caring for yourself, caring for a spirit who has been hurting for a very long time. While this removes your shame in a spiritual sense, the shame with your pack mates can only be removed by them. But as far as renown is concerned, your shame is lifted. We now go to break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story. Welcome back. As we return, we find ourselves at the Sept Cairn in the Hillsborough State Park. It's nighttime. As Quinn, you spend a lot of your days, whether it's working at the outreach center or patrolling or one of the many, many other things you have tasked yourself or have been tasked with doing. But one of the things you were tasked with doing was making a form of first contact with the new arrivals from Vermont. Now, most of these individuals from Vermont you have heard of, for sure, having been a part of the North Country Protectorate in your own sept. But have they heard of you? And if they have, what kind of reputation do you have with them? Needless to say, these thoughts are going through your mind as you arrive at the cairn, as you make the journey through the woods to the clearing. And as you look about for your first point of contact, you see coming out of the trailer belonging to Eliza, Brother Varga, who seems to be carrying some bowls on a tray with him as he starts to walk off in a direction that seems to be leading towards one of the edges of the clearing. But before he even makes it that far, you are able to intercept. Now, aside from the thoughts I've mentioned, what other thoughts are going through Quinn's mind as they prepare for this point of contact with the former keeper of the dead of the North Country Protectorate?
Quinn's mind is very much all over the place, thinking about the next steps he has to do after having these conversations, how he can set up things with Delphine and Ray to have conversations with them and kind of moving that forward so he can go and do the next task that he needs to do.
Okay. So as you approach the very frail looking guru, the Silver Fang, who looks a lot more in touch with death than with life, you may make your introduction.
Quinn will kind of step in front of him and kind of give a small wave and say, do you need some help with that? And kind of put his arms out.
Oh, of course, that would be very much appreciated. I don't believe we've met.
Yeah, no, I'm Quinn, Children of Gaia, if you must know.
Quinn of the Children of Gaia. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. I am Brother Tomas Varga of the Silver Fangs, but you may call me Brother Varga or Tomas, whatever you prefer.
Nice to meet you, Tomas.
He passes over some of the food that he was carrying. I was actually on my way to deliver some food to Lady Volkova. She hasn't deigned to come into the cairn that often. She's a bit of a recluse right now, considering everything that happened. It's not surprising. But if you'd like to walk with me, I'd love to learn more about you.
Absolutely, I'd love to join you. And he'll begin walking.
So as you begin walking further and further to the edge of the firelight, the blazing bonfire in the center of the cairn, you can actually spot through the trees out in the darkness, maybe a good 200 or 300 yards away from the edge of the cairn, another smaller contained campfire of what looks to be a makeshift camp out in the woods. Brother Varga takes his time walking. He seems to be in no rush as he asks you, "So, Quinn, how long have you been a guru?"
It'd be about 5 years now.
So So you're one of the older ones in the area.
Yeah, I'd say that.
And have you always been in Tampa?
No, actually, I was originally up in the Cairn of the Long Ridge up in Vermont.
I see, a fellow North Country protectorate. And how are they? Have you spoken to them recently?
Recently, yes, they're safe. They've been informed of the recent devastation.
That is a relief. Hopefully, it won't be coming their direction, but the realist in me tells me it will touch upon us all eventually.
I'm sure it will. We have another one of my pack mates actually going up to start a chain reaction to let all the other seps know.
Good, I'm glad the word is spreading. Quinn, your last name be Kelly by chance?
Yeah, that's me, Quinn Kelly.
Well, then it's an even bigger pleasure to meet you. I made communications with your mentor several times over the years, and it's good to put a face to the name.
I'm glad she's still talking about me.
Does. She speaks very fondly of you, at least the last time we communicated, which unfortunately has been some months now.
Understandable.
So what brings you here?
I was helping a newly changed guru out and brought them back down here instead of where I was. Logistics and things like that kind of caused us to come on down here instead.
We must follow whichever way the wind takes us. It is understandable. And you chose to stay?
Yes, I think there's a lot that can be done here. The people here are nice and they seem to care. There's a lot of camaraderie around here.
He looks over the cairn, kind of as if he's searching, and says, "And your kin, are they here?"
Nope, they decided to go back up north. Probably not into that area. I do need to actually check in somehow to see where they are at. But they decided on a different path.
Well, it's one's job to find them, but it's their own job to make their way. I must say, I am grateful to the hospitality you and the Sept have given to us. They are quite literally lifesavers.
Yes, my pack has only really recently learned about what has happened up there, and I wanted to come here and kind of give my condolences to all of you and let you know that my pack, the Hellhounds, we're willing to support you in any way that you need to see fit. We also have some suggestions for tasks if anyone is looking.
Oh, very good. Yes, I know that there are a few of us who are looking to make some progress to help out however we can. Others are still dealing with their grief. Did you say you're called the Hellhounds? And it's at this moment you notice his priest collar on his button-up black shirt.
It was pre-named before I got here. They were the Hellhounds before I joined them. It's something to do with the place up in Michigan.
Ah, well, I would be very curious to hear the origin of the name. And how long have you been here now?
Storyteller, it's been like year-ish, right?
It's probably coming up on, I think maybe like 3/4 of a year, almost a year. Yeah, I'm trying to remember when your first session was, but yeah, almost. Actually, it's probably more like 6 or 7 months.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll just say 6 or 7 months.
Ah. And are you finding it well? It's a bit hot and sticky at the moment.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to the heat. I'm much more acquainted to the northern weather.
That makes two of us. Though, again, wherever the wind takes us and wherever we can find safety in these trying times, it is our home regardless, because all is of Gaia.
Absolutely.
As he continues to lead you through the woods, his pace slows even more as you draw closer to the campfire, the makeshift camp in the woods, where you see sitting by the fire is a statuesque young woman, probably in her mid to late 20s. Brilliant platinum blonde hair done into a braid off at one side but hanging loose at others. She sits by the fire, jabbing a stick into the coals somewhat forcefully, sending a spray of sparks going upward. And Brother Varga calls out, "Lady Volkova, I've brought you some dinner." She responds, "I told you, brother, I can take care of myself." "I know this, lady, but I think we both know you haven't been taking as good of care of yourself as you should. And what cousin of yours would I be if I didn't look out for you as well as I always have?" Katerina rumbles slightly, stabbing the stick into the coals one last time, leaving it buried in the depths of it. "Fine then. What have you brought?" At this point, Varga approaches. "Well, I've brought two that Miss Eliza Ross has made for us, and I'm also honored to make an introduction. This is Quinn Kelly of the Children of Gaia, a member of the Sept of the Evening Star, previously of the North Country Protectorate. Mr. Kelly, this is Lady Katerina Volkova of the Silver Fangs, formerly of the Sept of the Crescent Moon." Katerina finally has something that draws her attention fully as she looks over at you. "Kelly,
Yes, Lady Volkova.
you were the failure of a kinseeker.
Yes, that was a mistake that I made.
Are you still making such mistakes? The fact that you are alive says no."
I have made better decisions since then.
"This is good. There is a war coming, greater than the one we already fight. If you wish to survive it, you will not make such mistakes going forward."
Yes, we've been told about Jajak.
"And what is this I have heard of you capturing a kin and making off with them?"
The kin that came upon me needed a separate place from what the North could give them.
She kind of presses her mouth into a hard line at first, as if she wants to argue, but then a moment later says, That was good foresight. They would likely be dead. You brought them back. Come sit, Quinn Kelly.
Thank you. And I will sit very close to her.
Her eyes have this very icy, hardened quality of someone who is disciplined, but also clearly has experienced so much pain and loss lately that there's almost nothing behind them at the current moment. But even with how cold they are, you can easily detect the burning inferno of rage inside of them. Roll me a wits and insight.
I'm assuming I'm at a rage 1.
I'd say you're probably at a rage 2. You were going to talk to people who come from the same place you do and probably clearly have heard some things.
4 successes.
Okay. Judging based off of your estimations, Katarina is currently tottering at a rage 4. So insight would tell you to tread carefully in this conversation going forward, because you have heard of Katarina Volkova, daughter of the Iron Oath, deed named Gilded Resolve. She is an Arun and a fierce warrior like her father. Probably not his equal, but as close as one could get coming from such a lineage. What are you good at besides kin seeking?
Talking to people.
She scoffs slightly at the idea of the importance of talking as she takes the bowl offered to her by Varga. What else?
I'm a really good runner.
I could have told you that. You fled all the way here, didn't you?
Yeah, but no one caught me.
She actually smiles at that a little bit. Well said.
Thank you. To answer further, I'm a fairly stealthy individual as well. I can hide well, sneak around, do the ne'er-do-well things that need to be done.
You are New Moon?
Yes.
I always hated the New Moons. They always made good points when I didn't want to hear them. And how do you feel about us being here?
I think it's good that you have survived the tragedy of the North. I have no issue or qualm with anyone from the nation or anywhere else being in this safe haven.
Would you feel the same way if it was your home that burned?
I think we're all in danger of that happening anyways.
What is it that is keeping you from running back?
My pack leader told me I couldn't.
So this is your home now.
Yes, it is.
Quinn Kelly, what is it that brings you to my fire?
I came across Tomas here, and I was helping him, and now we're here.
Ah, yes, ever the pleasant conversation, Brother Varga is. And she shoots a look over to Varga, who just shrugs his shoulders lightly. Well, if you are here, you might as well eat. And she actually passes the bowl that she hasn't even taken a bite out of yet to you before taking another bowl from Varga.
Quinn will happily begin to eat any type of food. He loves it so much. But he'll, through starting to eat, he'll say, I also wanted to give condolences from my pack to all of you for the tragedy that has happened, and also give tasks if anyone is looking for them.
Her look tells a story through that very statement. At first, the condolences, you can see a kind of hardened response to that at first, but then the idea of tasks makes it even more intense, as if to say, like, you're going to give me tasks? But a look from Brother Varga, a chiding look, as if he could read her face and her intentions. Quinn Kelly, while your sympathy is appreciated, what I would prefer is your insistence upon avenging those that died to such a threat. As for tasks, what can I do?
Well, my pack, the Hellhounds, have a few things that we are working on, and we could use some support or help for anyone who is willing or wanting to do these tasks. This is not anything you have to do.
I am a guest here. Tradition would dictate I assist where I can. So I am willing to.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate the traditions. Just remember that not all of the traditions are followed here.
This I am very keenly aware of.
Just word of warning on that one. I had to learn the hard way on that one. But tasks that the Hellhounds have. We are looking to open a new cairn in Ybor, and we need bodies to help us with that.
Very well. I don't know much about such things. And she looks towards Varga. I would be happy to offer my aid and knowledge in regards to opening such an important spiritual place. We may also wish to speak to the other Lady Volkova, Anastasia. She is a talented theurge as well and could be a great help in this endeavor. But as for you, my lady, you will just need to show up and be present. To that, Katerina says, seems simple enough.
Yes, just a little gathering will help us with that. Speaking of our opening of our cairn, if there is any need or want to learn about the community in the area, it might be best to speak with one of my packmates, Forge from Failure. He is the sheep wolf of the Sept.
How can one be forged from failures?
He got the name before I got here. I have no idea.
Does that just not make them an even bigger failure?
I stopped asking questions a while ago.
Are you not Ragabash? Is not questions your business?
Yes, but there are some questions that cannot be answered, and that is one of them.
Then perhaps it should be, if they are of your pack. Ignorance can cause downfall and failure.
This is true. I agree with that. I am planning on talking with them more, so I will be maybe getting that answer for you.
Better hurry. We don't know how much time we have.
Well, then let's make the most of it.
And this pack, who else is in it? Carved from failure?
Oh, that was a good one. I like that one. No, we have Delphine Gaia Speaker. She is our pack leader. She is a Silent Strider Theurge.
Good.
And then there is Raymond Gorn. He is a, what are you, a Ghost Council? Yeah, a Ghost Council Philodox.
She looks around at first to be like, is he here when you say, what are you? But she looks back to you. This is also a strange name, Gorn.
Yes.
Has he not committed a great deed?
From what I'm learning, he's actually done some detrimental stuff.
I am detecting a trend.
A little bit, but that is another task that we are looking to get some help with. Raymond has attached himself to a spirit and needs some help with getting that spirit more amenable to our requests.
She looks over towards Varga again for any kind of confirmation, under the belief that you're all attached to spirits, thus patrons. Varga at this point speaks up. What kind of spirit?
A worm spirit.
A bane?
No, just a simple, plain worm spirit.
Intriguing. We'll have to speak with Eliza Ross about this. And he is not a dancer.
No, I know that he's been working on bane tending, so I think that's probably where he got it from. I don't really know.
Ah. That makes more sense. It is a very dangerous but secretive art. I'm sure there is some good intentions behind it.
Oh, I'm sure. I've never known him to be anything other than good.
And your Theurge is your pack leader.
Yes, she is.
Interesting. It's not the first time I've heard of it, but it is very rare.
She does well as a leader.
Katerina says, is it because your rune is a failure?
No, I don't believe Forge actually wants the position of leadership.
Why? Is he weak?
No, he's just very emotional.
crybaby Arun.
Yeah.
Perhaps he is not as forged as he thinks.
Well, I mean, if we look back at how things are truly formed, most runes are highly emotional. They just try to hide them better.
Not the good ones.
I mean, you seem pretty emotional yourself.
Let me just roll something really quick. She actually smirks at that. Yes, and it only took the burning down of my home and the murdering of my father to get there.
Yes, so you must be one of the stronger ones.
Good save, Quinn Kelly.
I do my best.
You are very cheeky.
I can be sometimes, yes.
So tell me, you said it took adjusting to be here. What was the biggest adjustment?
For myself personally, it was probably accepting the fact that there is a stargazer here. And not only that, but in an elder position.
Duh, I have been hearing talk of this stargazer. I must admit that would be an adjustment for me also, but I have seen what bias can do. I have seen what the old ways can do and the damage it can cause. And Jester Silvertongue, being the Gorgon that she is, has shown me that this place could very likely be the future of Guru.
I'm glad that you're more open to it than I was when I came here.
While we are part wolf, we are also part human. And humans are the most adaptable creatures in existence. So where we go, we must adapt. And this is where we find ourselves, so we will adapt to the ways of this place. What did you want to be?
What do you mean by that?
Before you were chosen, what did you want to be?
I just wanted to live my life and survive where I was at.
Why?
Because I was 18 in a bad home and I didn't really know where else to go.
Ah. A true survivor, then.
I'd like to think so.
And what was it that made your home bad?
Death in the family, alcohol, bad parents.
You see she's kind of bobbing her head, being like, yeah, okay, that. But then when you said bad parents, you could see her like stiffen. Slightly. That I can relate to.
Oh, were you also beaten?
Yes, but that I welcomed.
Ah, well, you grew up more in the know of it, didn't you?
I was born into this life. Not too unlike Charles.
Understandable. I wish that was the way for me. I would have understood it a little bit more, but mine was not warranted.
And your set. What was it like?
My previous one, you mean?
Well, you have told me about this place.
It was more of a Kinseeker training space.
Were they good trainers? Because the results are not telling a good story.
Yes, they were very good trainers. I was under them for 4 years. I made one mistake. We could get over it now.
Give me a composure and resolve.
Two successes?
Okay. I'm going to say your rage goes up to a 3, but you're not going to lose control. She smiles slightly at the response, but then nods her head. And so we shall. It is a new beginning for all of us, is it not?
I believe it is.
You are made of strong stuff. I can see the trauma that shaped you. We will need strong stuff if we are to accomplish victory. And what about after? What will you do? Should you live? Which odds are for most of us we will not.
If I do end up living and this place still stands, I shall stay here.
Why do you not wish to go back?
Because my place is here and not there anymore.
Your place is where you have decided it. Have you decided it is here?
Yes.
Why?
Because more can be done here than it can up there.
And what do you think can be done here that can't be done elsewhere?
Well, have you resurrected a dying species?
What?
Never mind. Anyways, how you doing? What do you want to talk about?
At this point, Varga steps in. Well, this has been a lovely conversation. Perhaps we should leave Lady Volkova to her dinner. Mr. Kelly, if you would join me.
Quinn will stand up and he'll give a small bow to Katerina. Say, if you need any private comfort, come find me, and I'll walk away.
She smirks and says, "You don't have the equipment." As Varga leads you away, totally just wiping out that last comment or set of comments from his mind. You'll have to forgive Lady Volkova. She is grieving, to say the least, and struggling with it. But I think you made quite the impression on her.
Thank you. I hope she does well, and truly, if she needs support, I can be, and so can my pack, can be large support.
We'll keep that in mind. And if you do need assistance, and when you do need assistance, do not hesitate to call. I know we can give off a certain aura, but we're all fighting for the same thing, and we know this. And differences can be set aside in place of need. But do not take her comments too seriously. I have a feeling you won't, but trust me when I say she's one of the good ones.
I will note that. Thank you.
As you return to the cairn proper, he looks over towards the body of Charles. Did you wish to say anything to the departed while you're here? We've had a couple of visitors already, but most are taking their time.
No, I paid my respect with Delphine. But thank you.
Good. Well, it was a pleasure to meet you officially, Quinn Kelly, and please, if you speak to your mentor, pass along my good tidings and hopes that she is safe. And if you need anything, don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you. I will. Before I leave, please do get in contact with Delphine. She had some questions about the dead.
I will. Immediately. So as you depart, leaving the cairn once more, preparing to head back to your part of the city, a place much farther, more comfortable than this one at the moment. What's going through your mind now?
Quinn is very understanding as to the almost guilt but fear that is happening with everyone from the nation. Having known the stories and the concerns and seeing that the nation is dead or dying now. So there's definitely an underlying concern of like, I don't actually know what's next. And I actually don't know if this is the place to be, but this is where I'm at and this is what I'm going to protect.
Just like any good survivor, you make the most of what you have, you adapt, you survive. But at what point does Quinn turn from a survival or a survivor to one who thrives? Is it in this place? Is it elsewhere? Is it before the coming conflict? Is it after? Only time will tell. Because time, while some may consider it a construct, moves ever forward. And this sept is running out of time. We now transition to our final scene of the evening. Our final scene of the evening keeps us in the cairn of the Sept of the Evening Star. The daylight sun shines down upon the clearing, warming the ground, making it hot if it weren't for the protective forces that keep this place temperate. But under the Florida sun, it can only do so much. As the mix of sand and dirt that makes up the ground feels warm beneath bare feet. We find ourselves in the training yard one that was constructed with care and precision by Charles Albrecht. A place where some have been shamed and embarrassed. But one way or another, it is a place of learning. Here is where Delphine Gaia Speaker is about to learn a very surprising fact about the one known as Charles Albrecht and what their part is to play in fate. A meeting of two theurges, a sharing of knowledge and information, and a task to be given. Now, Delphine and Jace have worked together previously, have crossed paths previously, but nothing like this. So Jace, I'm going to ask, as you are the one who called for Delphine to come from Ybor City all the way up to the Sept Cairn, a place that she hasn't been frequenting as of late, mostly because of the work that needs to be done and the pack business that has kept her away. What kind of situation is she walking into?
Jace is standing in the training grounds. He's wearing his normal getup of the jean jacket, dark shirt underneath his hat and ripped jeans, but he's pacing back and forth in the training yard, looking to the Pell and then trying to figure out how to bring this up. Now, with Delphine being a theurge, it's going to be a lot easier to speak about some of these things. But the fact, the emotional aspect of it being Charles, it weighs heavily. It's not just a job. It's something that is much deeper, that connects a lot of people together. As he walks, he's moving the iron rings within his pocket, feeling the threads within them and the cold iron as he's touching and tapping it, waiting for her as there's almost a continuous circle around the Pell.
Now, the ring that you've collected, at least the shard you've collected so far, feels a little bit cooler to the touch than the others, despite the fact that they're all made of iron. That one being currently in the possession of a part of Charles's spirit feels colder. Now, that's not necessarily surprising. Cold is often associated with ghosts. That feeling of walking through a cold spot in the room. But it shows you just how much work is to be done, as it is one ring out of the several you have in your pocket. You have a long road ahead of you. Hopefully, Delphine can help make that road a little shorter. Delphine, as you approach entering into the cairn, crossing the distance between the cairn's edge and the training ground, seeing Jace pacing back and forth, what's going through your mind and how are you presenting yourself?
Delphine is... Most of the Sept has seen Delphine since the beginning in baggy clothing, just wearing a lot of sweaters, even in the hottest of temperatures, and just shapeless. Everything was just shapeless wear, just hiding her everything underneath. But as she is starting to be a little bit more confident, getting rid of the anxiety sweaters, so she is sporting a tank top, which is something that she's still adapting to, and some flowy boho pants because it is hot, so the flowy clothing is still going to be the best option right now. But the cairn is a place that she has not been to a lot, and ever since, and knowing that Charles's body is just laying out, it's harder for her to come to the cairn. So she's been mostly sticking to the built-in excuse that she has to mainly be in Ybor right now, prepping for the Rite of Cairn building. But coming in here, she's just, the anxiety's showing just a little bit. She's trying to tag on imaginary, like, sweater sleeves that aren't there. And instead having to just, like, grip the fabric at the, like, by her, around her thighs a little bit to self-soothe, as it were. But she's seeing Jace, and pacing is never good, so she knows she can already tell it's going to be something uncomfortable.
Okay. So as you approach the training yard that you have spent so much time in, the place that really taught you how to be a guru. Yes, you had some lessons in hell. Yes, Sean was a mentor on and off for a time there, but this is really where you earned your name. This is where you earned your place. This is where you became a leader. This is where Delphine Gaia Speaker was truly born. So as you approach, the scene is yours.
As she walks up, Jace will stop, look over to her, and immediately think shoulders, and then put that thought away, and then kind of pull his hand out away from the rings inside and give her a gentle wave as he moves closer towards the Pell. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, it's no problem. I just had Jordan drive me up. He's checking things out since Aspen said it was okay for him to come in here.
I don't think I've met him yet.
He was the Fomori that Ray was taking care of. Ghislaine now.
That Jordan. I've heard about this Jordan. How are things going on your end?
Busy. We've been working on the cairn. No cult of Fenris, thankfully, in the area, but we don't know how much longer that's gonna last. And just a lot of work. I've had to delegate a lot of bigger stuff to Forged and Quinn and Ray, just so I can focus on finishing things up at the factory.
Jace, roll me a wits and awareness.
Rage?
Probably 2. You're back around the Vermont people again, and you now have this really daunting task of trying to reassemble someone's soul.
Would I also be at 2 for the scene just to get it out of the way?
Yeah.
4.
4 successes. At first, as you look at Delphine, nothing stands out. You're going through everything you have to say, everything that you want to tell her. Your focus is definitely divided between her and the Pell and the body and all of the other unfinished business. But as you look at her, you notice around her throat the flickering and waving of a shard.
As he's about to ask another question, he then and he'll stop and just look down at her neck. Sorry. He'll shake off the staring.
I know it's weird. I've been wearing tank tops. It's fine.
It's not that. Not you look great, by the way. Well done. I'm very, very proud of you. Sorry. He'll look back down at it. Do you He'll like bring his hand up towards his own throat. Do you feel short of breath at all?
I mean, the walk up is never fun until we get to the edge of the bond, but I'm okay. I've caught up. I've catched my breath. I'm good.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna get into this. He'll walk over towards the Pell, and then he'll pull out one of the small rings. There's no easy way to say this, and with you having an understanding of spirits, it's going to make this part just a little bit easier. He'll look towards the large boulder and Charles's body next to it. As I'm sure you've heard, Charles's body, his spirit itself, we haven't seen it. We haven't noticed anything happening. I spoke to Eliza and I spoke to Varga. One of the newer guys came in. I'm going to secretly call him Friar Tuck till he's cool with it. But
She wrinkles her nose at the mention of Brother Varga.
I get it. I'm on the same page. Not really on board with much of anything that they have, but the information that he was able to provide is good. He'll hold up the ring, the one that has the shard of Charles in it. Inside here, it's a piece of Charles's spirit. His fractured soul. Whatever happened to him, his soul has been fragmented all across the places that he held dear. Some places that he resonated with, people. And the only way that we're able to get him back so he can move on is to restore him to, and he'll kind of push the iron ring towards her in these. And once we have that, we can help him move on. One of these, they look like wisps, little pieces of fabric almost blowing in the wind. One is here, and he'll hold his hand to the Pell, and then he'll point towards her throat, and you have another around you.
Hearing this, she will go ahead and activate penumbral senses.
You're bound to the cairn. You don't have to.
Oh, okay.
You can see when he gestures to the Pell, something that could have been easily overlooked because it's almost translucent. It is very kind of thin and small, but atop the Pell is this waving, wispy, almost it kind of looks like ripped fabric, but based off of its translucence and the way that it's blowing softly in the wind, it's somewhat ethereal.
She'll focus her, like you see her focus her gaze on it immediately, and she'll walk over and just kind of hold out a hand to it, trying to almost like kind of do the thing where it's like it could potentially levitate in her hand.
You just feel it fade through your fingers as if running your fingers through smoke.
I tried the same thing.
That's Charles.
I had one, and he'll point to the Pell on his jacket right here. Like I said, wherever Charles had a connection, whoever Charles had connections to, are places where these, and he'll gesture to the wisp, these fragments of him are going to be. Now, this is an urgent matter, as there is someone going around picking them up. And whatever ones we can't find, he'll pause, almost taking in a deep breath and sitting with the thought. Deep into the Shadowlands, there's someone or something that's gathering up pieces of him to usher along the process. But we can't give him the proper send-off if we don't have every last piece.
You do see her pale a little bit, and like an involuntary shiver goes down her spine at the mention of the Shadowlands. She did offer it to Aspen, but just like seeing it become a reality option now, she's immediately just thinking of the time she and her pack were there for those 10 minutes of just freezing cold temperatures, maddening whispers, shadows closing in on them, and the presence of something approaching from beyond that they didn't even get to see. She looks a little nervous at that, but will nod. I mean, I told Aspen that if you guys needed, I could take you guys there, but it's really bad over there.
Why we're told not to go there. Even with an invite, it's still ill-advised to even step foot there. But if it means retrieving Charles so he can have a proper send-off, I'm willing to traverse there. And he'll pause for a moment. Kent, the fact that she was able to see this without the actual piece, that would dawn on him that would have it taken effect. Okay.
That's the confirmation you need, that she can see the shards without the use of the ointment.
He'll reach in his pocket after pausing and then pull out the jar. You can see on the pellet. You see what I'm talking about. You reached for it.
Yeah. That's how I was able to help Juniper deal with the wraiths of my parents. I was able to see them.
He'll almost like want to instinctively give her a hug, because the last time he tried helping was rough. He will then stop and make, within this jar are the ashes of a ghost council, which helps aid those who can't normally see be able to see what we're seeing. So the fact that you can do this without it, he'll then slowly put it back into his pocket. That's huge. Everyone had some form of connection with Charles, and each one of these pieces of him are going to be different in trying to get them into these rings. The placement in which mine was, and he'll open up his jacket showing the holster that Charles gave him. The wisp was close to here. Charles gave me this holster. He taught me how to fight from distance, use a firearm, and then he helped me with my overall confidence in combat. I had to tap into that in order to convince him to drop from here, and he'll point towards the ring to here. Now, I'm assuming the one, and he'll gesture towards her neck, around your neck. I'm not sure the overall significance there, but that's for each person to decide on their own on the location, the meaning behind it. And he'll pull out one of the rings, the extra rings he has, and hand it out to her.
Her hand instinctively goes to her throat, like while looking at the ring, and she scrambles in her mind, trying to think of a significance to her neck and why the wisp would be attached there. And she's like flipping, like almost like a page book, flipping through the memories going backwards until she gets to the beginning of this picture book. And Jace just sees her genuinely just like laugh, like a little bit of glassiness to her eyes, but just laughing. And she's not one who would normally laugh out loud frequently, but this is just a genuine, just, we're gonna look back on this one day and just laugh. And she is finally looking back on it and finding it just as a funny story to be told. He told me not to talk to Eliza when we first got here. And I immediately disobeyed him and thought I was being real slick, just happening to stumble upon Eliza while she's doing laundry in the river. And I had a whole conversation with her. I thought I got away with it. And just as I was asking Eliza not to tell Charles, he steps out of the bushes with a collar and a leash.
Oh.
And proceeds to humiliate me in front of the pack.
His methods, why effective in most scenarios, are sometimes unorthodox.
He wasn't trying to get me to just be humiliated. He was trying to get the pack to feel united in a common foe. Because we were always fighting. We weren't getting along. We just got thrown together and we didn't want to be together. And in that moment when I was being absolutely humiliated, Forge, Juniper, and Ray, all of them, told him the fuck off. Telling him that that was wrong, that he shouldn't be doing that to me. That just because me talking to Eliza didn't warrant being collared and leashed like a dog. It was the first time we actually all kind of had something to make us feel like a pack.
For the first time in almost 2 months, Delphine, you hear a voice.
I'm Charles's discipline. Do you still know your place?
She, you see, she shuts her eyes and Jace will just see a tear go down her cheek as she's listening. A little bit of a shaky smile. And a chuckle. And she'll just say, well, thanks to you, my place is now one of a leader.
That's quite a rise. But do you still know your place?
Delphine, I want you to make an intelligence and etiquette roll.
I'm gonna spend a willpower.
Okay.
2 successes.
Your place is in the sept, is in the pack, is amongst the Guru. Not separate, not individual, but one with your brothers and sisters and cousins. Because if they can't fight as one, they will be shattered. Just like Charles is now.
She'll reach over, or she'll open her eyes and she'll reach over and take the ring from Jace, holding it tight in her palm and close to her chest. And thinking on that, she'll just simply state, my place now and into death and eternity is here.
That the wisp almost unhooks itself from around your neck and starts rolling down your shoulder, slowly just tumbling down until it meets the ring in your hand, at which point it dissipates into the ring and the ring grows cold in your grasp.
She holds the ring, flinching a little bit because the cold's familiar for her. And she looks at Jace and holds it out to him.
Hold on to it for a bit, in case you come across more.
Do you know how many more there are?
No, that would be a fantastic thing to know. But his soul was ripped into so many pieces. It's the way that it's been scattered. I have no idea. I don't even know where to begin as far as a number of how many of these could be out there.
She'll pause at that, and then she'll turn and look over her shoulder at the body. And she'll start walking over to it until she's standing over it, and then she'll go down and kneel, and placing a hand on it, she will basically like mentally sending out a plea to Owl mainly, but also trying to use sight from beyond. She's not asking Gaia this time. She's asking Owl, Brother Death, to help her get an idea.
Okay. Go ahead and, I believe, spend the willpower, or maybe it's a rage check. I'm trying to remember
willpower.
which. Willpower, and make the roll for sight from beyond.
I'm gonna spend another willpower. Four successes.
As you touch Charles's body, it's rigid to the touch, stony, and not in the usual muscular fashion of Charles's usual form. No, this is rigor mortis. He is stiff. But as you call out to Owl for some sort of guidance or sight, you feel your hands start to press into the body as what was solid becomes liquid. And like dunking your hand into an ice bath, you feel that intense chill go shooting up all of your nerve endings, causing you to have to recoil almost in pain, jerking your hand back. And as you look at it, your hand is frail and withered, almost like skin clinging to bone. And as you look down at the body, there is no body to be had, but a river on which you stand on the bank of, knelt down beside the flowing waters. Everything else is submerged in darkness except this river. You can hear that howling whispers on the wind that were all too familiar and haunt your nightmares. And you can see the boat. as well as the boatmen rowing along the river, delivering a boat full of the dead. Passes by the long staff dipping into the water's surface as it cruises along. The individual steering the boat dressed in a brilliant, radiant white, but still somehow featureless beneath a hat as it steers. And as you look, you see the scythe leaned up against one of the boat's edges. And on the scythe, there are now 3 wisps trailing off of it, all along the blade's edge. You then feel yourself slipping into the river as the bank gives way. That shock of an icy blast hitting you as you are submerged into the water. You feel your breath leave you as if just yanked forcefully from your body. And you can't help but scream, but it's a breathless scream, as there is no air to supply the noise necessary for it. And in the darkness of the water, you see just empty black in front of you. But then that black starts to take shape into a circle, almost like an orb. And then amidst that circle, lines start to carve out, shaping into rough estimations of continents. And then on the continents, motes of light start to emerge from various locations. One up in the northeast, one in Vermont, approximation before it just is yanked away and disappears. Several in Florida, all seeming to coalesce around the Bay region. And a few others in the most random of locations throughout the country, primarily up the eastern seaboard. And then, as your lungs start to burn, realizing that you aren't breathing, you're drowning, you feel the splash of your head reaching the surface, and you breathe in deep, your eyes clenched shut. And once you open them, you are hand pressed to the body, knelt on the ground by the giant stone that makes up the center of the cairn. You are returned.
She immediately just jumps to her feet, whirls on Jace, and is like very like panic mode. Like, I need a map. I need a world map.
Okay. Going to run over to. Just gonna rush into Eliza's trailer. She might have one, and not even acknowledging her at all, just going through her stuff, grabbing a map, and then running back out.
Okay. Yeah. Easy enough to find. She seems like the type that'd be worldly and keep those kinds of possessions.
as soon as she has it, and she'll like, I'm assuming he got to like grab, like, if there's no pen, she'll use the dirt if she has to. But she starts just marking points on the map, just putting dots here, there, everywhere. So many in Florida, some in the Northeast, some in Vermont, along the coastline. And she stares at it for several moments, double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking before she nods and then holds it out to Jace.
He'll look at it. This is good. You want to explain what it is?
Those are the shards. That's all that I could do here. But there are 3, and the ferryman has them.
Jace, looking down at the map, you can see a heading, like a sailor. You can see a path that could be taken for one very, very careful and sneaky wanderer to be able to go. Because where some of these dots are very close to where the attack took place, where the death happened. Obviously, there'd be some significance. It was his home. The problem is, though this is a good start, you need to know why they matter. And there are very, very few people who would have that answer.
As he looks at the map, he'll then set it down, pull out his phone, take a picture of it, and then he'll just quickly get a message prepped for the pack. Cell reception's being spotty where they're at. This is good, Delphine. This is really good. My concern, he'll point towards the northeastern side of the map, is here. If shards are there, that's
The last time someone went into Dancer territory, they didn't come back.
yeah. I will need to talk to Aspen about this and see if she wants an overall idea, but I made a promise to him. He'll look towards the body, that I would do everything I can to help him along in his next steps. Thank you, Delphine. This has been a huge help.
She hasn't even been realizing that she's been shaking from just the after effect of the vision and the cold, and like her teeth are chattering just a little bit, but she starts feeling the warmth and realizing that her body is shaking, and she'll just in for the 3 and the other side though, that's not gonna be easy. We were there for 10 minutes, and Juniper and Rory were kind of losing it a little bit. We were all freezing, and there was something coming, and there was something that Juniper mentioned, which does have me a little worried. When we were there, she said she didn't want to go into the labyrinth.
He'll look down for a moment, knowing the different stories that he's heard about her, and then that comment. It's weird how pieces all kind of come together in the end. While you were there, can you describe any of the emotions that you were feeling? Anything additional that you might have seen?
Mostly panic, because I'll be honest, Jace, I didn't intend to go there. It was an accident, and that's the only time I've been over there. But mostly panic, anxiety, fear, fucking freezing, just cold. The cold was a feeling. But I didn't feel safe. That's the most important feeling.
He'll nod as she gives the retelling. Down the road, like I said, it's a place that we are told that we should never go, even when invited. But there are also some people that are worth going to these cold, frightening places for.
Jace, roll me. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Nope, I lost it. Go ahead.
Sorry, man. Roll me a wits and survival.
Seeing the different points on the map, still rage 2?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think it would make you. You're not there. Just the idea of going there might be a little bit anxiety evoking, but
It's fair. 3.
what could have caused such a result is being lost, is going somewhere you didn't intend to go. The shock of arriving in the Shadowlands for the first time would probably throw anyone off. It is foreign, it is unfamiliar, and like you said, you're uninvited. And depending on where you got dropped in that world, some places are probably worse than others. But if you went with a purpose, you had a specific place in mind to go, you had some sense of control and confidence, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. Just like going anywhere. When you're lost, you're terrified. When you're terrified, bad things happen. But when you know where you are, when you've chosen a place, it takes a lot more than that to shake you.
He'll stop for a moment and then he'll reach into his pocket, feeling that cold ring. Delphine, when we go and we step through any of the other sides, we always have the intention of what we're stepping into. The idea of we know what we're about to embrace. What you had to go through, just that accidental little stumble that you had, that emotion that incited from that, makes sense when going into an unfamiliar area, especially one as daunting as the Shadowlands. But if we were to step in over to that side, knowing where we need to go, our heading, prepared for what's to come, we can almost shield ourselves a bit from those emotions, from those feelings. And I'd be damned if I don't get those 3 pieces back, or more, depending on how quickly we can retrieve them.
I'll do it, Jace. I committed to this even before having confirmation that he was over there. I want to help. Charles meant a lot to all of us. But I also just want to be completely forward on what to expect there. I know
It's
that
not.
my feelings might also have been a big factor in that, but this is going to be dangerous. And even though the dead are dead, they don't stay quiet. Juniper taught me that.
Agreed. And just the help that you've provided so far has been huge. I will talk with the additional leaders. I think you can be helpful here. I've seen it. I know that you have a skill set in this. I have no doubts about that. This map alone, as he points to it, is proof of that. But you made a point that it's dangerous, but isn't every part of being Guru dangerous?
You're not wrong. But when the dead can speak to us, even those voices that we haven't heard in a long time, they might make an appearance. And because we are Guru, especially us, this sept in particular, we might be facing a lot of emotional distress. And we need to prepare for that. You lost a whole sept. I lost a whole sept. I lost my parents. Aspen and Jester have both lost people. I don't even know how many Izzy has lost. Whoever's going, you need to tell them to prepare for that. Because it's going to get us. It's going to try.
When those times come, when we are being talked to like that, one of the things I learned about when I was younger, when I'm talked to a certain way, is not to cower and you talk back. I'm not one to back down. I know that my pack isn't. And I'm damn sure a lot of people, members of your pack, don't really like being talked to like that anyways. So I'm sure if things push come to shove, we're okay with talking back if we're getting talked to like that.
What made you think anything about my pack screams talking back?
Bonar, I hear stories. I see things. I've also had conversations with Forge, so he don't really talk back to me too much, which is beneficial for him. I might not be able to beat him in a straight up fight, but I have other ways of making him feel small.
Well, he's gotten better.
He has
Well,
100% improvement from 2% to where he's at is always an improvement.
kudos on getting him to accept a job, by the way. I wanted to thank you for that. I've been getting on his ass about it for ever.
He seemed cut out for the job. Rat and I gave him some shit for it, but he's been doing pretty well.
Jace, there was something that Delphine said about the boatman. Go ahead and roll me intelligence and occult.
Anything to do with Banes?
No.
Can I assist?
Sure. Why not?
That's a 6 with a crit.
As you think about the boatman, you think about the river, your minds, both of you, are flooded with stories, mythologies, traditions. You think about paying the boatman. That in a lot of traditions, they'll put coins on the eyes to pay for the ferry to take you across to the land of the dead, or take your lost one to the land of the dead. If such a boatman exists, if they are in fact the one carrying Charles's shards, and if they aren't just a metaphor, they're going to be expecting a cost. Because rarely is a soul taken to the land of the dead allowed to come back. So they're going to want something to pay for that boat ride back. And it's probably going to cost a whole lot more than 2 coins to do so. Because how do you fight the truly dead? And how do you fight them in their own backyard? You don't fight them. You join them. If you try. This is where our story comes to a close this evening, but not without 2 final scenes. Our first scene is in fact a split scene. On one side, we see Forged tending bar at the Split Helm. On the other side, we see Raymond busily staring at the willow tree within the cairn, knowing what he has to do, but isn't quite prepared to do it yet. And as we watch these 2 individuals go about their business, about their lives, we focus on Forge's face. Because shrouding his entire face is a wisp. We then move to Raymond, where from the center of his forehead sprouts another wisp. Our next scene, however, takes us to the evening's moon high up in the sky. Along a city street, a wolf prowls. But this wolf doesn't belong here. This wolf doesn't belong anywhere. But I can tell you where it's going. Ybor City. This is where our story comes to a close. Thank you so much to these amazing players and guests. Thank you to everybody watching at home. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see listed down below. Join our community by following the Discord link and sign up for the Ko-fi, where for as low as $5 a month, you get access to all kinds of behind-the-scenes features, including the Rosebud Thorns for this very session. So go check that out. It really helps support this channel, this program, and this community. And we thank you very much for that. This week, we've got a new episode of Red Tide Rising, where the Sept of the Evening Star leadership goes to visit that coterie of vampires. And then we have the new episode of Rage Across Tampa on Tuesday, and we'll be back here next Friday with a brand new, spanking new episode of Hellhounds. So come join us for that. Thank you so much for watching. For these amazing players, I'm Kent. We'll see you next time.